welcome to a special snow day edition of FPTV News. I am freshman Tyler Aragao, filling in for Matt Dresselhaus. Let's get into the stories. Now into our next story. Retro running is the new exercise that a lot of people are falling in love with. Retro running is like the act of running backwards. Recent studies have proven this exercise to improve fitness compared to running normally. According to a 2011 study, when runners stride ahead, they typically strike the ground near the back of the foot and roll onto the front, coiling muscles and tendons, and in the process, creating pent-up energy and tissue that forcefully released as the foot pushes off. According to the New York Times, however, backwards runners get different results. To be able to complete each stride backwards, the runner actually ends up using more leg muscle and burning 30% more energy than forward runners. A 2016 study experienced runners who traded their normal running program for 5 weeks of backwards running became about 2.5% more efficient by the end when running forward. There can also be less strain on the knees in the backwards motion, so this exercise is oftentimes used to help runners rehabilitate from injuries to the joints. However, with every good exercise, there is always a downside. People often slip, fall, run into objects while running backwards. Turns out we could really use eyes in the back of our heads. Now on to campus news. There is still time for Franklin Pierce students to sign up for the study abroad trip in Spain next semester. The trip, led by Professor Doug Challenger, gives students the opportunity not only to study abroad, but to walk the historic Camino de Santiago Trail. The study abroad program begins in the spring with practice hikes to prepare for students. The trip itself does not begin until August, with students returning home in November. Applications for this trip were initially due by November 15th. However, with spots still available, that deadline has been extended. In order to take part in the trip, students must have a 2.767 GPA or higher. Students must also write a short essay explaining why they wish to study abroad, and they must also get a recommendation letter from a professor to submit along with their essay. The study abroad fee is $5,700. However, financial aid does apply. Acting Out held auditions this week for their newest production, a modern adaptation of Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream. Acting Out is looking to have 15 to 20 people join their cast for the production, and they are also looking for tech members to join. The numbers are not as high as we hoped, Durain said. We would like to see more involvement in our program, although the talent is not a problem for us. Acting Out is a separate group from the theater department. Their auditions were held from Tuesday, January 31st to Thursday, February 2nd. The goal is for the play to take place in April. Although it is currently unknown where the play will be held. Now we move on to another story. Campus Safety expects that a problem with the emergency phone service to be fixed on February 9th. The emergency number, 5555, can be used on the campus emergency phones located at various spots on campus, but students must dial 899-4210 from their personal or off-campus phone in order to contact Campus Safety. Maureen Sturgis, Director of Campus Safety, said, "We have a ticket in to Fairpoint and they are going to reconfigure the number." Fairpoint is the service provider of the campus phones. Campus Safety typically gets around 3 calls a month from students for emergencies. The most frequent calls are from students that have locked themselves out of their rooms or dorms. Now we move on to sports, and we'll be back after this commercial. Start again. 5, 4. Welcome back as we get into sports with men's ice hockey. Junior forward Jonathan Hahn of the Franklin Pierce University men's hockey team has been named the Northeast 10 Conference Player of the Week for the week ending on February 5th, as announced Monday afternoon by the conference office. In addition, freshman forward Alex Lester has also been named the league's Rookie of the Week. Hahn piled up 8 points as the Ravens poured in 17 goals in a 2-0 weekend. He did most of his damage Wednesday night in an 11-0 non-conference win at Post, where he collected 5 points on 3 goals and 2 assists. Hahn followed up with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points in Saturday night's 6-1 NE10 win at Southern New Hampshire. Now for women's ice hockey. Senior forward Marissa Ketterman of the Franklin Pierce University's women's ice hockey team has been named New England Hockey Conference Player of the Week for the week ending on February 5th, as announced on Monday afternoon by the conference office. In addition, senior goaltender Shannon O'Neill has been selected as the league's goaltender of the week. Ketterman tallied 2 points in each of the Ravens' 2 wins in a 2-0 weekend. On Friday afternoon at UMass Boston, she dished out a pair of assists, including a helper on the game-winning goal in the second period. On Saturday afternoon at Southern Maine, she bookended the scoring, putting the home team first on the last 2 goals in Franklin Pierce's 3-0 win. Meanwhile, O'Neill turned aside 47 of 49 shots in goal while playing every minute in net for the Ravens. On Friday, she made 27 saves against 29 shots to pick up the win at UMass Boston. On Saturday, O'Neill stopped all 20 shots she faced for her 13th career shutout. Now here's Haley with the weather.
Thanks, Tyler. We had a great snow day today, and let's talk about the weather. The weather this week starts off with today being cold and cloudy with a high of 32 and a low of 23. Tomorrow it's going to snow all day with a high of 30 and it's going to drop to a low of 20. Wednesday it's going to stay foggy throughout the day with a high of 46 and a low of 20. Thursday is going to stay overcast with a high of 23 and a low of a chilling 8 degrees. Friday, the sun will finally show with a high of 18 and a low of 14. It'll be freezing, but at least the sun will shine. The weekend will freeze back up with snow on Saturday and Sunday with highs of 35 and a low of 31 and a high of 25 and a low of 20. That's the weather this week. Back to you, Tyler.
That's all for tonight, folks, for the news. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tyler Aragao, signing off.